All right, and we're here, even though we had some technical difficulties. And Maddie's muted.
This should work. There we go. We're back. We're back in.
Maddie's in Columbia, all sweaty because he's plastering and painting on schools and putting them to work.
Yeah. I had to move some bags of cement. That's all. Nothing too heavy. Could have done with a few NFL offensive linemen there, but we did our best.
Me and you are doing so well. We're being perfectly wrong, and neither of us have won a game with the point spread yet.
Oh, come on. Well, that's what people listen to us for. Do whatever we don't do. It's always a great idea. Hey. Do the opposite of whatever we do is usually the best way to do it.
Good thing for you is it's no secret to everybody knows who I'm picking tonight, so that might just go in your favor.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I'm so with my Dallas Cowboys hat on, so hopefully. I mean, I'm not too confident either, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, should we talk about what do you want to talk about first?
Well, let's start with that Bills-Dolphins game. Wow. Josh Allen tried to give that thing away a couple times.
Yeah, they did everything that they could to lose that game. They did absolutely everything that they could. They couldn't have tried any harder to hand it straight to the Dolphins. And the Dolphins still couldn't get it done, which is impressively awful.
Yeah, and I ain't going to lie, by the middle of even though I had picked the Bills to go to the Super Bowl, by the middle of that game, I found myself cheering for the Dolphins. So, I don't know. I think it puts the naysayers to bed who have been talking about Mike McDaniels being fired after 1 year of what he did with a third-string quarterback who didn't even have great numbers, but played good at certain important moments.
What's the most crazy about that is if Jalen Waddle didn't drop it 3 times, he would have had, in the first quarter, the first quarter and a half, he would have had 3 catches for 100 yards. Like they were big drops as well, like big play drops, and he dropped them. And I love Mike McDaniel. I don't understand why anybody thinks you would fire him for what he's done with the Dolphins this year. I think Mike McDaniel's done a great job, but I do wonder why, when you've got the third string quarterback in, run Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle out the backfield a bit more would be my only criticism of what they did last night. I think they did everything that they could do to win in the situation they were in. And I mean, the Bills tried to give it away. It felt like the Dolphins capitalized on every mistake and they still managed to lose.
It does feel to me like full strength that the Dolphins might have won that game.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the Dolphins beat them early in the season when they were full strength, right? If Tua Tagovailoa is playing quarterback there, you've got to think that looks different. And Mostert in the backfield as well. I mean, this Tyron Armstead not needing, he's needed potentially season-ending surgery since week 2. And has still fought through everything since then. So, if they weren't banged up, then you've got to think that they would be somewhere near the Buffalo Bills, if not beating the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, sorry about that. My dog was being Joey Jerkoff.
That's all right.
I think the Bills better get it together before the next game, or they're going to have a whole lot of problems.
Yeah, definitely. You got to agree with that. I mean, I feel like the Bills are prone to off games. Definitely, we've seen that throughout the year. Josh Allen has been prone to off games since he came into the NFL. So that could happen. What usually happens, though, is those off games come in games where they have double point spreads, favorites, where they're big favorites. But then when they have to play the big games against Kansas City, for example, they go out and they play the Dolphins the second time round. They come out, they play their best ball, and they go out and win the game.
Yeah, and I'm just going to skip around on the games because it's pertinent to playing the Bills. Another team that didn't impress me all that much was the Bengals, but that's the closest we got on the point spread. We missed that by 1.5 points, Maddie.
God,
The
it was
Bengals didn't
awful.
impress me though because I mean Tyler Huntley played pretty good, but I thought the Bengals were going to beat a beat up team who hasn't really had anything going for them in the last few weeks. I thought the Bengals were going to come out and put a foot on their neck. And the way they were waving by off the field to them, it's like, man, you almost got beat. Lamar's in that game at the end of that game, and you get beat.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it and you think, holy shit! Like, how did the Ravens even get close when they don't have anything?
99.9
when they don't have
yards
anything.
touchdown. That's how the Bengals won, a 99.9 yard touchdown off of a fumble on a quarterback sneak.
How often can you count on that happening in the NFL? Like, you can't. So
if Huntley scores there, who knows what this game is?
Yeah, 100%. And like, it's good for the Bengals that the Bills look shit too. Like, it's good for the Bengals that the Bills look good too. I think what's happened is that there were 3 teams that were going for the number 1 seed that are legitimate number 1 seed contenders: the Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, and then they've come into games where they should have been smashing their opponents, and they just weren't able to do that.
I agree. So we'll talk a little bit about the next week's games. We don't have to pick winners, but let's talk that Giants-Vikings game first. That had me in my feelings for a few hours. I had to go to my happy place and start editing videos and doing different things. After I digested it, for the fact that they could have won that game, and I felt like, once again, the fucking defense gave it away. But no Vikings fan thought we'd be 13-4. Division champs with a first-year coach. They were just hoping for 10-7 in the playoffs. You know what I mean? And looking different. Ed Donatell's got to go, and I'm not usually the guy who says fire a coach after his first year, but the reason being is there's no reason Danielle Hunter or Zadarius Smith in any fucking defense should be covering a receiver, a tight end, a running back. It should never happen. Pass rushers should never be put in that position. And if you're going to keep both of them, which you cut Danielle Hunter, it's a ton of money. Z's the one you can get off of, but why? He had a great year. So I feel they'll both be back. You got to go back to that 4-3. You just got to.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen the 3-4 offense being tried out a lot of times, and it's never come off. Like, I can't think of a 3-4 offense that's ever looked like incredible, like unbeatable.
Brady's passed a few times, but it's more of you have to have those hybrid pass rusher cover guys. Like, you could do it with Micah Parsons, but why would you not want to rush him all the time? Bradley Chubb's a guy that could probably do it, but yeah, you got to have a special type on both ends or it doesn't work.
Yeah, and it was especially weird considering, well, what I saw in the game was that you guys got no pressure whatsoever. Like, the way and any pressure that was there was not sustained, which meant that Daniel Jones could get out of the pocket straight away. I mean, it looked like a pretty dire defensive performance, and people are having to go at Kirk Cousins for only throwing 3 yards on that 4th down, and I get it.
That pissed me off. I'm not gonna lie, that pissed me off.
Yeah, it pissed me off too. But I mean, you look at it and it's like you can't put down the losing of the game. Like, the losing of the game was already gone at that point.
Sorry, for some reason my dog wants to be part of the podcast today. People, I don't think people quite always grasp. So in a 4-3, your hands in the ground. You can use that power move up. When those guys are standing, you take away Danielle Hunter and Z's power move. So you just limited them off of one of their moves to get to the quarterback too. I don't understand. And then I don't understand the fact that they don't blitz at all.
Yeah,
Should
it feels like
5-0.
they sit there and you fucking go, Shub. It looks like you sit there and you go, yeah, it doesn't count if you don't do the spreads, though, Shug. It doesn't count if you
Maddie's
don't bet
trying
on
to
the
make
spread.
himself feel better. Maddie's making himself feel better.
I'm much better if we don't do the spread. But yeah, it's yeah. When you look at the Vikings, it was a pretty dire defensive performance, and it was just getting gashed the same time that they've been getting gashed all year. That middle of the pitch, not getting any pressure to the QB, that same area all the time. And Saquon, like, if you do that to Saquon Barkley, he's gonna tear you apart. Daniel Jones is a decent enough runner to get that done. That also, it just looks like whoever does the tackling coaching at the Vikings, like, really needs to get it down, like, during the next season, because they were falling off tackles at points where they shouldn't really have been falling off tackles at all.
Yeah, and again, I can't stress enough that defensive scheme was just awful. There were so many holes. I appreciate you not texting me last night. I appreciate not getting a text last night. Like I said, I had to go into my happy place. I started working on my next documentary. I just had to get out of my head. And then I kept the next game in the background and watched it. But yeah, and then I get online this morning and I see so many Vikings fans blaming Kirk Cousins. And I'm like, yeah, 3 touchdowns, almost 300 yards, 113 passer rating. Like, he wasn't the problem. Yeah, that last play wasn't the best decision, but he wasn't our problem. He hasn't been our problem all year. And I will say it again, it is way easier to get worse than it is to get better drafting a quarterback.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the people who are asking for Kirk Cousins to be sacked don't really understand where you guys are right now. Like, you guys are in a place where you have a quarterback who has the talent to take you to the Super Bowl and has, like, if you put the right team around him, and you're in the process of putting the right team around him, the offense looks good. There are not many teams that have more weapons than that in the offense. The defense is where you need to draft. You just need to draft all the defense.
Yeah, and it's besides, like, Alexander Madsen, who's a backup running back, things like that, the Vikings are bringing back all of their starters next year on offense. So it's that defense that needs to be rebuilt. If you could keep Pat P for $10 million a year, Pat P played good this year. He was one of the shining stars. You keep him. We got Evans looked good until he got hurt. We don't know what Andrew Booth is as a corner because he got hurt right away. Seen in the safety. So if you think about it, that's 3 players that have potential they're bringing back on defense. They got to build around those guys, and they got to come up with a different scheme. That scheme was fucking awful, and that's why Ed Donatel was an assistant.
Yeah, like, it's not working, and there's only a few ways to make it work. You can't get rid of all your players, so therefore you have to hire a new coach, right? But that's what you have to do. There's no other way to get around that. If you're not going to completely disband your team in order to fix a defense, but keep the same coach, right? You need to rebuild with a new coach there. And the way I texted you just before we came on here, the way that your offense has looked has been great. Kevin O'Connor was the best signing of your offseason. He looks like a great coach. And all you need is a defensive coordinator to match that. And once you get a defensive coordinator in this league, you're able to hold on to them for a long time.
It'll never happen because of it. You'll never go backwards in this world to the same team. But if somehow they could get Mike Zimmer to come back and be the defensive coordinator, the Vikings would be in the perfect spot. But that can't happen. Oh, Maddie's got some technical difficulties. So while we're sorting that out, let's get a quick word from our boy Freezes at Overtime Hustling.
What's good? It's your homie, Freezes Christ. Y'all know the deal. Make sure y'all head on over to overtimehustling.com where you can catch all the latest merch, all the newest mags, all the media, everything, know what I mean? And you can also find me on Winging It with the homies Keith G, King Dale, and Payne Gusto. And you can catch me on Turf Tales with the homie SK. And if you got nothing to do on Sundays, even if you do got something to do, make sure you tap in the Overtime Reactions hosted by the homie Cuzzo. And I cannot forget the homie Jay over there at the Yankee and the Brit channel. So make sure y'all go over there and check them out. And hey, check me out, your boy Freezes, on that Real Talk with Jay. It was a hell of an interview, yo. Gotta do it again. I keep saying it because I mean it. We gotta do it again. I had a great motherfucking time. But anyway, you know who it is. Freezes H, OTH, Yankee and the Brit, Winging It, Turf Tales, Overtime Reactions, Chronicles Podcast. You know the drill. Cush's Corner. It's a motherfucking movement. So move with it. Or move out the motherfucking way. Simple and plain.
Overtime hustling, we hustling overtime.
All right, Maddie, let's get tonight's game in case something happens with your internet. But then if we get a little time after, I have a couple questions for you for next week's games. But I'm guessing with the 2.5 point dog that you are on the road, well, your favorite, so -2.5 on the road. How you feeling about tonight's game?
I'm feeling exceedingly apprehensive, but I kind of like the Cowboys in a place where everybody thinks they're going to lose. That seems to be the way that they play best. They play down to opposition, but they also play up to opposition. The issue is they're on paper a lot better than season. However, the other issues are they can't play on grass, and they're shocking away from home, and they've never beaten Tom Brady before. So it's all a lot of reasons to be apprehensive. What do you make of this not being able to play on grass statistic?
I've seen it with the Vikings back in the 90s. They're built for turf, and that was back when that turf was just like carpet, seriously, and they didn't wear cleats. They wore those nubs, like gym shoes. The Vikings were built to be fast on there, and when they got to grass, and like teams like the Bears keep their shit longer on purpose to slow teams down. That's what it is. It's that team that is built on speed is a step or two slower, and so the plays that work on turf don't work on that grass.
Yeah, and the Cowboys are definitely built for speed in every position on the field. The pass rush to cornerbacks, to the way that the offense is built as well. The offense is more built on timing rather than outright speed, and playing on grass kind of fucks up the timing as well. I kind of hope that they've been training all year. I kind of hope that they've been training all week on grass. I hope they've found a grass field somewhere and they've been training on that.
And this is, people can say what they want, but it is what it is. Dak's been a turnover machine for the last 7 games. And Maddie's got that Colombian/Canadian internet going on. But Dak's been a turnover machine. They don't play well on grass, and Brady's been the Cowboys' daddy. We can hear Maddie. We just can't see him.
Oh, can you hear me? Right, okay. Well, that's fine. We'll just go with that then. As long as you can hear me, then that's fine.
Good. We got faces for radio, Maddie.
Sorry?
We got faces for radio. It was a joke.
Yeah. Faces for radio. That's the way to do it. That's the way. I'm much more comfortable without people being able to see my face. Actually, this makes me feel loads better. But yeah, I just think where it comes down to it is Tom Brady is Tom Brady. I'm never gonna if it comes down to 2.5 points, then Tom Brady will beat us. Like in the fourth quarter, we need to be ahead by 7, maybe 10 going into the fourth. I have Tom Brady PTSD being a Cowboys fan.
No, I can feel that. Being a Vikings fan, I had that with Favre and Rodgers for 30 years. So, you know, that if you're not ahead by more than 1 score and with 2 minutes left, they get the ball back, it could be a problem. All right, Maddie. Well, I'm taking the Bucs to win this game, plus 2.5. I'm guessing you're taking the Cowboys. And since you're having so
I can't now. Okay, sorry guys for the poor internet again. All right, see you later, guys. Have a good one. Cheerio.
One world, one love.
Adios, amigos.